In February 1967, a Viet Cong guerrilla pushed a bicycle loaded with weapons down a remote jungle trail in the Elephant Valley. He was relaxed. He was exactly 2,500 yards away from the nearest American position on Hill 55. That is 1.42 miles. At that distance, he was mathematically untouchable. The standard-issue Marine sniper rifle at the time, the Winchester Model 70, maxed out at around 1,000 yards. Even the heaviest artillery would have to guess his exact coordinates. The guerrilla had every reason to feel completely safe. Then, a single shot tore through the valley. It struck the target instantly. No follow-up shots, no machine gun spray. A single surgical hit from a weapon that was never designed to be fired that way. The man who pulled the trigger would go on to hold the record for the longest confirmed sniper kill in history, a record that would remain unbroken for 35 years. You will find out who he was at the end. Not yet. To understand the shot, you have to understand the gun. The M2 Browning .50 caliber machine gun, affectionately known as the Deuce, is not a precision instrument. It is an 84-pound block of Parkerized steel designed by John Browning at the end of World War I. It was built to shred light armor, tear the wings off strafing aircraft, and suppress entire tree lines. It fires a cartridge that is over 5 inches long. The sheer concussion of firing it kicks up a cloud of dust that instantly gives away your position. It fires from a closed bolt, meaning the massive internal mechanisms violently slam forward before the firing pin even strikes the primer. It shakes. It rattles. It is brutal, area denial machinery. If you want to put a bullet through a window at 1,000 yards, you use a sniper rifle. If you want to level the building the window is attached to, you use the Deuce. But one man on Hill 55 looked at the M2 and recognized something everyone else missed: the ballistics. He realized that the massive 750-grain .50 caliber bullet possessed incredible aerodynamic stability. Because it was so heavy, it wasn't easily pushed off course by the wind. He didn't rely on assumptions or guesswork. He operated entirely on fact-based reasoning. The math proved the bullet could reach 2,500 yards accurately. The only problem was aiming it. He acquired an 8-power Unertl telescopic sight, a scope meant for a traditional bolt-action rifle. He took it to the metal shop on base and had a custom steel bracket machined to bolt the delicate optical scope directly onto the massive receiver of the machine gun. He then dragged the weapon to a firing position, mounted it on a heavy tripod, and piled sandbags around the legs. He locked the traverse and elevation mechanism down so tight that the gun became a completely fixed, immovable object. He turned a machine gun into a single-shot artillery piece. Back to the Elephant Valley. February 1967, the spotter on Hill 55 catches movement in the binoculars, 2,500 yards out. A target with a weapons cache. The shooter gets behind the M2. He doesn't hold the spade grips. Touching the gun too firmly would throw off the alignment. He gently presses his thumb against the butterfly trigger. At 1.42 miles, the wind matters. The humidity matters. The rotation of the earth matters. He factors it all in. He presses the trigger. A single, deafening crack. At 2,900 feet per second, the massive bullet leaves the barrel. The flight time to the target is over 3 full seconds. In the scope, the shooter watches the massive vapor trail of the bullet arc through the humid Vietnamese air. 3 seconds of dead silence on the hill. Then the spotter confirms it. A direct hit. The NVA command was terrified. They believed the Americans had developed a highly classified, futuristic superweapon. They had no idea they were being picked off by a machine gun designed in 1918, modified by a guy who simply did the math. The kill was verified at 2,500 yards. It fundamentally changed military doctrine. Decades later, firearms manufacturers would build dedicated .50 caliber sniper rifles, like the famous Barrett M82, based entirely on the success of this improvised, jungle-rigged experiment. The shooter who built the rig and pulled the trigger was a 25-year-old Marine from Arkansas. The North Vietnamese put a $30,000 bounty on his head and called him the White Feather. His name was Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock.